2 years ago, my first year here was kind of figuring things out, recognizing some things right away, starting to make some changes right away, but not full-on shifts. Really more starting to do some education.
Sure.
Then in the next year, we really delved into teaching with poverty in mind. I always start with a fall retreat at my home in August. And every year it's a different theme of something that I know we need to focus on as a staff. And so that summer we did a poverty simulation, which was amazing. We worked with our partners in the community who do that work. And for half of a day we really walked in the shoes of folks that are in poverty. That was some of the change that came into place. And just really training not just our certified, our classified, making sure everybody was on board with that. For example, something I didn't share yesterday, but we really changed from a punitive kind of situation with our minors and majors to what we call a coaching school. Okay. So on the playground, for example, if a student's doing something, we don't just write up a minor. We have to do 3 things first. We have to remind, remove, and remind, reteach, remove. And remove is where they're actually sitting and watching examples of other kids doing it before we ever write the minor. Okay. So it kind of goes to the idea of if they aren't doing it, teach it to them.
Right.
Then of course you're going to hold them accountable at some point, but it's not that knee-jerk reaction of caught you doing this.
Right.
It changes it to where it's really teaching. We had a strong positive behavior, but we just started to create systems for everything is what I would say. We had a lot of things happening, but they weren't systematic. So whether it was our inclusion methods, our building our tiers, we got more and more systematic. So, like I said earlier, what I noticed when I came here, this is an amazing school and had amazing staff working incredibly hard, but we lacked a lot of systems. And so one of the things that we've done is just create systems that help our work be more effective. And so, for example, our red level PLC, we didn't have a red level PLC till this year. But we recognized, boy, you know what, if we were to get together, since all of our grade level teams are meeting in PLC every Wednesday, and their focus this year is really implementing Math Common Core new standards, but there are other teams that need to meet in PLC. So once a month, this team meets, and we chose those folks, and the SPED team wasn't there today, but they're normally there too, because we're kind of the ones who are working in an intensive way with plans around those students.
Overall, his points are outstanding. Like he's got 78, 80 points every day, like perfect points. Check in, check out does not make sense for him unless it's in multiple domains and we're seeing a consistent behavior that we need to track and try to plan.
It's kind of like anything, and what I love about what we're doing with Swift, it's like we're going to improve it and make it more systematic and more successful every year because we're going to notice, oh wow, this would help. And it doesn't take more resources to do it. We have the time. So that's where that came in. And another PLC that happens once a month is my Title I teacher and myself and the 2 SPED teachers. And now we're talking about walk to strategies. Okay. We're talking about that intensive intervention that we do for reading. Because again, Leslie kind of oversees that and oversees the instructional team, and then it's an inclusive program, and so it doesn't matter if you're SPED or you're not. Sure. We're all working as a team, and so that's where we come together and go through each grade level. How are the students doing? And how are we progress monitoring? Our expectation is that we're progress monitoring special ed students weekly, and that we're progress monitoring non-special ed students but at risk every 2 to 3 weeks. So you can look at RTI systems, multi-tiered, whatever you want to call them, whether parts of them will be working, but the problem is if you don't increase the systematicity of them and have checks and balances for everything and decision rules along the way and set times you're meeting, it won't be as effective as it can be. Right. And so you have to increase the systematicity of those. They have to be quality, but then you have to create the systematicity of them, of the whole system. And so that's why when you say layers, you're right. It's a lot of systems that are interconnected and that work together.
We do have the luxury of having
Well, I think that they were designed as teachers' offices, you know, when this building was first built. But Desiree has made it very clear that that's not an office. That's not where teachers put their desks, and none of our teachers did anyway. But it's not just a storeroom for all of their things. That's like a learning, you know, it's a learning space. Right. And so really, if I were to go into the classroom, if I feel like I can provide the support while they're sitting at their desks, in their groups, in their table groups, then I will do that, and I'll rotate around and just be a support. If I identify that there are 3 or 4 students that are just still not getting it, and I feel like I need to do a reteaching, I can pull those 3 students into that side little room, and we can do a reteaching. We can do a couple of practice problems, and then we can go back out and we can join the class. So just trying to provide as much in the classroom as we possibly can is our main goal. And obviously, if you look at my classroom, I wouldn't be able to have a ton of kids in here. I mean, I think that we're doing the best we can with our resources, and teachers are being flexible, and we're all just in it together. So.
Actually, I know I leave, but when I leave before Cub Club's over, which is not very often, but when I do, it's like the parking lot is packed. And I love that. There's 150 kids doing stuff. So we are in year 7 of being a community school, and I think that it's 2 things. It's over time you build a culture and the community starts to recognize that, and I also think it's the people that are in the role. It is so important. Community schools don't thrive in every school. You have to have a community school coordinator who's dynamic, and you have to have a principal who wants it. We try to do something different in the after school. It shouldn't be more of the same. Kids don't want more of the same. But using the targets that we know they have, then we really tend to use electronic programs like Lexia, Moby Max. We'll do a small group kind of intervention blended with that. We also have our certified, which support that. Mostly, I think all of our, at least at our school, all of our first block is our staff.
Right, so those are certified teachers.
They're certified and classified who support. They really do the first block. We have some certified and classified who decide to be a part of the second block too, which is great. We have some of them doing a photography class, and and Bree's doing a dance class. But really, that second block is all of lots of outside partners that come in.